According to the U.S. Census, in 2010, the U.S. population was 308.7 million people, of which 50.5 million identified as having Hispanic or Latino origins. This represents 16% of the total population compared to the 1980 census, which found that 6.4% of the total population identified as having Spanish origin.
What does this mean? As the number of Latinos continues to grow, advertisers have developed an increasing interest in this population. In the early 1900s, Latinos began to pose a challenge to the mainstream, which led to negative representations in the media. These stereotypical images of Latinos were widely distributed in the 1950s and 60s due to the remarkable achievement of television in the US and its increasing popularity in American households.
Commercials are important for the distribution of images. Therefore, we will focus on the portrayals of Latinidad in English-language television commercials.
Latino men have been portrayed by the media as violent, dangerous, irrational, and dishonest. This image is known as the bandido stereotype, which has persisted over time. In 1967, Frito-Lay used the Frito Bandido character to advertise their corn chips. The original Bandido had uncombed hair, a golden tooth, was unshaven, and looked menacingly at the audience while holding two guns. In the early 1970s, the National Mexican-American Anti-Defamation Committee pressured Frito-Lay to remove the stereotypical image from their commercials. Frito-Lay responded by giving the Frito Bandido a new look.
I turn your Fritos corn chips into my Fritos corn chips.
There may be a Frito Bandito in your house, so buy two and hide one bag for you.
Sir, welcome to the moon, senor.
Frito Bandito, what are you doing here?
Oh, I am the moon parking lot attendant. Now, if you will kindly deposit one bag of crunchy Fritos corn chips for the first.
Although Frito-Lay attempted to pacify the protesters by changing the image, the new Frito Bandido continued to be a negative representation. Similarly, around the 1960s, Granny Goose made the following commercial.
Who are you?
You may not believe this, but my name is Granny Goose.
What's in the goose?
Funny, eh?
My Granny Goose potato chips.
The bandido stereotype has shifted from the Western bandit to the gangster and the drug dealer. This Subway commercial shows a gangster jalapeño with reference to Tony Montana.
You don't like spicy? Say hello to my little friend.
Jimmy John's and MTV also utilized this image of the gangster in their advertising. These Latino men are portrayed as dangerous. Their tattoos and clothing emphasize their difference from their family in the car.
What are we gonna do now?
Jimmy John's, what can I get you?
Despite the research that has been done to target the Latino population, these negative representations of Latinos, and more recently of Latinas, continue to appear in English-language commercials.
The Latin lover stereotype has not persisted as much, at least in advertising. The only commercial that was found to portray a romantic, passionate, and sexual male is a Pepsi commercial starring William Levy. Even in this portrayal, there is an element of satire in his actions, which poke fun at the stereotype. What do you think? Does the satire in this commercial effectively challenge the stereotype? Or is it simply perpetuating the Latin lover image?
The sexy Latina image has remained in the media. Latinas in commercials are presented as overly sexual and sexualized, using their bodies to manipulate others. They often speak fast and with an accent.
What are you talking about?
In the commercials presented in this section, the Latinas primarily utilize their bodies to advertise the product.
The image of Latinos as buffoons is still present in the media today.
Bavoomier!
In commercials, Latinas are not only represented as sexy, they are also shown as buffoons.
Latinos have been portrayed as buffoons since the early 1900s, starting with Carmen Miranda in the 1930s and Desi Arnaz in the 1950s. Little Caesars has chosen to advertise their pizza using mambo attire and mambo music. Furthermore, the men who appear in the commercial seem of Latino heritage. Throughout the advertisement, they exaggerate their facial expressions and emotions, making them look foolish.
And this is what you do. Bite, bite, sip, sip. That's what makes the gumbo. Bite, bite, sip, sip. To the deep, deep dish gumbo mambo. For lunch.
Pizza, pizza.
A new stereotype of Latinos has emerged in television commercials: the family-oriented and festive Latino and Latina. The families portrayed in these commercials are big and come together and celebrate with food, music, and dancing.
Because as we say in old El Paso, together is bueno.
Though these representations are not necessarily negative, they are stereotypical and inform the opinions of the wider non-Latino audience. The pan-ethnic label of Latinidad becomes reduced to food and festivities. Why does this matter? Commercials that are considered ineffective by some Latinos include stereotypes, lack of Latino talent, and use of bad talent. An effective commercial would show the diversity and complexity of Latinidad and be believable.
Hola a todos. Hey. Guess what, guys? I got my first paycheck today.
I'm so proud of you, sweetheart.
Thanks, Dad. Mi mamá.
The bookstore job is great, but your studies come first.
I know, Mom. Hey, what's up?
Wells Fargo's commercial is powerful because it not only portrays its Latino family positively, but it also places them in a believable context. Coca-Cola also portrays Latinos in a positive light by showing the father envisioning his daughter getting a higher education.
Your son is gonna be okay.
The previous commercials have more potential to create a connection with the Latino audience and also inform the non-Latino audience about the complexity of Latinidad.
You have learning here, but how? You will apply it out there. Okay, guys? See you at the graduation.
Television has the potential to shape people's knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs about the world. Therefore, it is important for advertisements to display non-stereotypical representations of Latinos. Results from a 2007 study indicate that Latinos appear in only 1 to 4.5% of commercials in English TV advertising. One question that remains is, as the Latino population grows, will their visibility in these commercials also increase?